Hello, everyone. Welcome. We will begin shortly. This is a good time to check the volume settings on your computer. I would recommend headphones for this conference, and please view this in a distraction-free environment. This conference also includes some interactive elements, so please grab a pencil or pen and some paper. If you need to do that now, go ahead and pause the video and grab those things now. Before we get started, we're going to do a quality check. Hopefully you are hearing me, and this is also an opportunity for me to check my microphone and recording settings. So again, welcome. My name is Chuck Wright, and in this presentation, we'll be exploring how we can develop critical thinking skills in students. This presentation is geared toward my design department colleagues, but the ideas covered here can be applied to multiple disciplines. We've all heard critical thinking used as a buzzword, but what does teaching for better critical thinking actually look like? Critical thinking is a measured goal that's defined by the college. But how do students develop critical thinking skills, and what can we do as instructors to promote critical thinking development? We know that critical thinking is one of the top skills employers are looking for in our graduates. We also know the traditional higher education style of teaching, where an instructor lectures to a room of students without any interaction, is doing very little to develop these critical thinking skills. So there's a disconnect between the way that many college level classes are presented and this goal of critical thinking development. I think we've all had professors who broadcast, right? They read each individual point on the presentation slide, and after 20 minutes of this, our brains start to turn off. I think you may have lost the person in the middle here. So pause this video and write down a time that you attended a large lecture as a student and how that made you feel. So what did you write? Did that lecture environment make you feel like you couldn't ask questions? Or maybe you realized partway through the semester that you didn't even need to be there because the professor uploaded the PowerPoint deck to the internet and you could just download the presentation that he was going to read to the class anyway. Critical thinking requires a student to interact, collaborate, and discuss the material with their peers and the instructor. Collaborative activities help to encourage students to interact with the learning. We want students to apply their new learning, and there are many options available to us as instructors to encourage this collaboration. Collaborating with other students allows the individual to test their own learning, question the facts disseminated in class, and bond this new learning to previous knowledge. Critical thinking cannot be learned in a vacuum. To develop this skill, the college and workforce have highlighted as important requires interactivity, applied learning, and constructive inquiry. Let's pause and think again. Whoops. Let me grab my pen. Let's pause and think again about a time that you experienced learning in a group or interactive environment. What did you write? Maybe you recalled a group critique or activity where you were able to interact with other students and apply learning through feedback or discussion. Even though we're talking about collaboration and interaction of students in a group setting, our focus is on the individual. Our goal is to give the students the tools to create their own meaning making. Students should be encouraged to make their own meaning from the collaborative learning environment. This means different students from the same activity may leave the experience with different opinions on the learning. Constructing meaning through collaborative learning means students are interacting with the new material through inquiry, challenging, and connecting this new knowledge to previous knowledge. This discussion and inquiry also helps to eliminate misunderstanding in the learning. When we talk about applying collaborative learning, often the default is to add a group project to the class. But there are many ways to make a lecture more interactive and give students an opportunity to collaborate. The virtual classroom adds another layer of complexity for the instructor to be creative about the best way to incorporate collaboration into their lessons. Collaboration can start with a small 10-minute breakout session at the end of a lecture that requires students to apply the learning just covered. These activities help to challenge students' thinking and make connections to previous knowledge. In the design world, critique is one of the ways we encourage students to collaborate, discuss, and apply the learning from class. An activity I often use is to critique professional design work from around the world at first. As a first critique, students feel more open to talk about the work if they don't think they'll hurt someone's feelings in the class. Again, we're going to pause and think. I want you to write down a collaboration technique you could add to a class that you're teaching now. Collaboration in the classroom is only limited to the instructor's imagination. Breakout sessions to solve a problem, reflection writing, critique, video response, and group presentations are all examples of collaboration, which will encourage personal meaning making and build critical thinking skills. If critical thinking is the goal, Collaborative learning is the path to teaching those soft skills. Collaborative activities can also break up the learning, so students have smaller, digestible chunks of information to deal with. Collaborative learning should allow students to challenge, discuss, and analyze their learning to construct their own meaning from the lesson. This process encourages students to attach the new learning to previous experiences, which makes for more authentic and lasting learning. I hope you all enjoyed this short presentation and got something out of it. Your homework for this presentation is to email me 3 examples of collaboration you can add to your class or classes you're teaching now. Thank you again for your time, and I hope you have some new ideas on how you can add collaboration to encourage critical thinking.